All
Hi,
right.
everyone. This is Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk, the show that takes you behind the design. And I am excited today. We are here with Elisa All. She is the founder of 30 Second Mom, a wonderful story that I cannot wait to jump into. She previously owned iParenting Media, sold that to the Walt Disney Company in 2007. We'll talk a little bit about that and the amazing thing that she's doing now. So please help me in welcoming Elisa.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, Sheila. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story with us. Hey, listen, the first question that I'll usually ask everyone is tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started in business.
Well, my background is journalism. So I'm a journalist. I went to Northwestern University, got my master's degree in journalism, and really very soon after, I was freelancing and had a newspaper column, and very soon after I was expecting my first child, and this was way back in 1996, so I'm dating myself, but that was sort of the impetus for my first business. So having kind of this new life stage experience of being pregnant, you know, sort of looking for information as a journalist, that was my natural inclination, and looking around and not finding a pregnancy publication, I decided to make one myself. So that's sort of how it started.
Well, now, so back then, so we see a lot of magazines now, like parenting magazines, pregnancy magazines. So back in 1996, there was that gap in the market.
There really was. There was a quarterly publication, a magazine that came out once a quarter that talked about fitness and health during pregnancy. But I sort of wanted more general information about the baby and my body and what was going on with all these crazy changes. And so there really wasn't that type of information available. And so the website that we created back then was really originally intended to, sort of help work hand in hand with the magazine, the print version. But then, of course, what propelled the business was the web. It was sort of one of the first pregnancy websites, and it was all credible content. We had many, many experts and journalists creating the content for the website, and it just took off. And back then, the biggest questions that you had to answer were, well, should we get our own domain name? And then the second question was, well, should we spring for the extra, community platform, the message boards? And yeah. So we sort of said yes, with every sort of question that came along, and every time we invested in the business like that, you reaped huge benefits. So Pregnancy Today was the first site, and then that grew and grew and grew. And as my baby grew, I realized, well, we're not just serving pregnant moms, we're really serving all moms. So this network of sites evolved. So the next one was Babies Today, and then Toddlers Today, and sort of the company grew up right along with my kids. So it was really pretty fantastic. So iParenting became the umbrella for actually 43 different websites, all devoted to very niche subjects of parenting. And then we also had an awards program that reviewed the best products in the parenting marketplace. And if they earned an award, then those companies could license our image when it's on the retail shelves.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this. So you were a journalist, and then you ended up building a giant company. Were your parents entrepreneurs? I mean, how did you do that? How did you know what to do?
Well, that's a great question. My parents are interesting people. I'm a first-generation American. So the grandparents came over, started a business, woodworking, making cabinets, type of kitchen cabinet business. So my dad was a teenager when he came over, so he's very sort of hardworking. The work ethic is something that I really remember being hammered into me since I was a young child. My mother also came over here from Puerto Rico. She was she's the youngest of 13 kids, only one who went to college, got a scholarship, very driven, motivated person. So I just remember just always having this sense of, hard work, and you can do it if you put your mind to it and things like that. So I think that first and foremost, it's a personality or a character trait that you probably should have if you're going to be an entrepreneur. And secondly, it was that time, that technology boom. I think that, nobody really knew what they were doing, but there were programs where you could buy off-the-shelf software and build things, and it was pretty cool how that happened. And of course, nowadays things are so much slicker, and wow, I mean, you can imagine, but my skills have sort of evolved, and I'm more of an orchestrator. I'm not a technical person, so I know how to pick the right team members to do different jobs, you know. I hope that makes sense. But that's kind of how it, you know, all came together.
Wow. And my guess is that when you started this out with your first magazine, that you never probably planned to develop that big of a company. But so it took you from 1996, you sold in 2007.
Right.
And there were
that's a great question. So my sort of thought about it was, this will be a great way for me to be able to stay home with my child, you know, and, you know, we you know, set it up in the sunroom of our house, and it was just kind of a small little business. But I always share this kind of aha moment that I had when I was looking for sponsors, and I had this thought that I wanted to start a child or a car safety section on the website, and I wanted to sort of help fund the Babies Today website. And I just started calling car companies, and one of them said yes. And I thought, you know, it's a story in persistence. If you make enough phone calls, if you share your passion and you let them hear it, and this conviction in your voice, this is going to be great. We're going to help moms learn how to keep their babies safe in the car. And they said, okay, we'll be there. We'll support it. We'll be part of it. And I was like, you know, that was sort of my aha moment, that this could be big. This could be something more than I originally had intended. So
more than your sunroom.
Yes. And we eventually did grow out of the sunroom and get the office, and the whole .com boom happened, which was crazy exciting, also very scary, because shortly thereafter, the .com crash happened. And so you had to have a true business model in order to survive. And we did. We had several legs of the stool. We weren't dependent on any one revenue stream, which was really worked to our benefit. So, and we had built up enough credibility. We had enough brand equity in the iParenting name that it really meant something. We also were still in print. We were still, I was the editor-in-chief of 5 national newsstand magazines, which I listened to myself talk. I'm like,
wow.
That'll work. I was doing that. Then I had a radio show in Chicago. Then I had a newspaper column. So we had sort of our hands in a lot of different places, so that it wasn't just, we weren't a one-trick pony. So I think that really, really helped when it came to the acquisition.
And your niche of parenting, I think it's important. It's the same thing like with women. I think it's so important to find who your target is, and then figure out how to help them. I mean, there was a need. You found a need as a mother. There was a need, and now you've gone and you probably didn't realize how many other people had that same need.
I think that's a huge point. And as an entrepreneur, I hope that a lot of people realize that, well, if I see a hole or if I see a need, that means other people may also have that need or want or desire to have that product or service. And so listen to that little voice inside yourself that says, there's something here, you know, let me pursue this. And so one of the things I did when I was thinking about this pregnancy publication was I used my background in market research, and I designed a survey, of all things, that I gave to 100 pregnant women. And I said, will you just answer these questions for me? I'm really curious how you feel about pregnancy information. And, you know, basically I wanted to get at, do you think there's a need for a pregnancy magazine? And the answer was a resounding yes. You know, we would love that. So, you know, do some research and ask friends, family, acquaintances, you know, get information about, you think this is a good idea or not. But I will also say, don't necessarily be discouraged if naysayers say, that's a stupid idea, or because there will be those people. And I will remember always one person saying to me, no. There's this great book called What to Expect When You're Expecting. Who needs a pregnancy magazine? And I was like, really? You know,
you have Dr. Spock. Why would you need anything more?
Yeah. You know, and if you listen to that, you know, I could have just said, you know what, you're right. And not done anything about it. If I would have listened and internalized it, but I had enough other feedback and enough instinct. I've always been a big believer in trusting your gut. So I do that a lot. Listen to what my inner voice is telling me.
I love that. Well, let me ask you, okay, so you've built the company. How did it end up happening that you guys either pitched to Walt Disney or they found you? I mean, how does it happen of the sale of a company? Right. Especially to somebody big like that.
Right. So I think we were lucky in that other companies were coming to us. It wasn't Disney at first, but there were other companies coming and saying, great business, great brand, are you interested in selling? And, you know, when you start to hear that from, at first we're like, no, no, no. But when you start to hear that from enough companies, it starts to get exciting, scary, nervous, you know, all those things I was describing before. I've been through this roller coaster of emotions the last, you know, few years. But what we did was we ended up actually we were represented in the marketplace. And when you're represented by, you know, bankers, they kind of make other phone calls. And so once the word is out that, you know, this is sort of happening, then that's how, you know, the Disneys kind of get in the mix. And so it ended up that just was the best fit. And at first you're like, really? And wow. But there were a number of companies and very big companies that were interested in. So it was a really exciting time. And I'm just grateful for how it all kind of came together.
How scary was it? Because before we started recording, I told you that I had co-owned a business before that I had for about 7 years, and then that partnership broke up, and I felt like I was losing a child. And I know that's probably not a good comparison, but it was really hard for me. So how hard was it for you taking your baby that you had cared so much about and turning that over?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think it was hard, but I think it helped that I had a 2-year period over which to let it go, so to speak. I worked for Disney for 2 years, and so I was able to help integrate the iParenting properties into the Disney platform. I worked with exceptional team members at Disney. I got to go to Los Angeles, where the team was based, many times, and you know, many of those colleagues are still friends of mine, and I hold them very close to my heart. It's just, they have a very special place for me. And so it was a process of letting go and of understanding that things move on. And, you know, bittersweet for sure.
Yeah.
But when you see that the content lives on and, you know, now it's branded Disney, that's not such a bad thing.
That's not bad at all.
So
that's terrific. So you sold the company, and we're not going to get into that, but that's an amazing accomplishment. So first and foremost, wow, I so admire you for that. But then let's see, I think from you maybe took off about, most people think, okay, I've sold a company to Disney. She probably made a decent amount of money. She's going to retire. Well, how long did that last for you?
Funny. You know, that's funny that you say that, because people who know me were laughing too. They're like, yeah, enjoy your retirement. We'll see how long you'll, you know, be sitting on the sidelines. I exhaled for probably a few weeks, and I was like, you know, but then it hits you that, like you said, my baby is, you know, in LA.
Exactly.
You know, and what's going on? And so it was a little bit strange to not be doing anything. That was an adjustment. And then the phone calls started coming, and that was exciting to me too. Like, you know, let's have lunch. We want to talk to you. Do you want to write a book? You know, different opportunities started presenting themselves, which were all very exciting. So I had to weigh in my mind, do I want to do that? Do I want to go work for a startup? Do I want to be a media executive? Do I want to write a book? You know, I mean, all these things are fun and exciting, but somehow I knew I had another business in me. And I, you know, not to use the phrase aha moment, overuse it, but it kind of was this aha moment where I realized, with all my running around as a crazy mom, you know, 3 very active kids, busy schedules, oh my gosh, that I was relying on my phone, my smartphone, more than I was on my computer. I was on that thing throughout the day, you know, with reminders and directions and appointments and whatever. I mean, this was my right hand device. And so I thought, aha, that's really it. That is what is next.
There goes your retirement.
Right? I mean, forget it. I'm done. You know, I'm done with retirement, because talk about a hole in the market. Mobile content. What's mobile content? Nobody's come up with that yet. There's, you know, moms needing information, busy people, anybody really, not just moms, but as a mom, I kind of was thinking about, okay, I'm at the grocery store and I have 3 minutes in the checkout line, or I'm at the school pickup line and I've got 10 minutes before the kids get out. Or I'm at soccer practice and I've got, you know, whatever it is, you know, just short
little segments.
Short segments. And if you look around now, we're all on our phones. All phones in the carpool line. We used to get out and socialize. Now we're like checking our email and texting, or, you know, figuring out what's next, because we're all so busy. So I thought, if I can reach moms with engaging content in short sound bites and let them share it through social media at the, touch of a button, that's the next thing. And so then I just quickly got to work and built a team and decided, we're going to go after the 30-second concept because we've all been trained by TV to absorb a message in 30 seconds or less.
Yep.
So I thought, why can't we digest content in 30 seconds or less? And that way, when I've only got 3 minutes, I can get 4, 5, 6 tips, however much time I want to spend on the app, and then walk away feeling like, oh, I've got something I can use for dinner, or I've got an idea for how I can, prepare myself for mornings better, or whatever the idea is, and just easy and quick. So that's sort of the concept, is that 30-second, quick and easy information.
So when we're talking about information, all types of parenting information, whether it be recipes, parenting tips, where do you see that going?
Yes, well, right now there's 11 categories, but we're actually going to be launching a few more very soon. I know, bless you.
Thank you. I have a cold.
Yes, no worries. So it's growing, and it's also, we're letting our audience direct us and say, what are we missing? What would you like to see? But right now we're covering lifestyle information, travel, beauty, health, food, which includes recipes that you can do, here's some ideas for dinner tonight, ways to save you time, ways to save you money, and activities you can do with your kids. So those are really popular, just ideas. If we can give you ideas quickly and then allow you to share those via the leading social networks, they post them on your Facebook wall, or you can tweet them automatically or pin them on Pinterest. We think we've got something that's relevant and interesting.
I downloaded the app. It's fun. I like it. I'm the same way as you. I'm very busy. I have a 2.5-year-old, a 3.5-year-old, a couple of businesses. Everything's in segments, and the phone is never far from where I am. Right? That's just how we live.
Right.
And
there's a great stat, and I will not get it right, but something like 91 or 94% of moms, will not leave the house without their phones. And if they do, and they realize it, the majority of course, will go back for it.
Turning around.
Oh, yeah, right? You just can't not have it. You just feel almost vulnerable, like, oh my gosh, no phone. What's going to happen?
It's everything. It's your calendar. It's your email. It's your text messaging. And it does have a phone, so I do talk on it every once in a while.
Comes in handy every now and then.
Every now and then. That's right.
Right.
So where are you seeing the growth, and what is I know it's probably hard, but like when you had iParenting, it kind of grew really big. What do you see for 30-Second Mom? What is your plan with that?
Well, it's been steady. So, I've been growing this almost in a very similar way that I grew iParenting, which is slow and steady wins the race. I've been, talking with people about, we have ways to grow this faster, and, there's lots of opportunities out there, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm keeping my mind open. But to date, it's been, let's build out the platform. Let's nail down the concept so that we know what our offering is, and then we'll figure out how to really blast it out there. So right now it's growing through social media and word of mouth, which is truly your best, I think, the best ways to get recommended by your friends, your family. And so we have added, our contributor team is amazing. We started with 25 contributors. We now have more than 75. And we've only been around for about 9-10 months. So it's growing really well. There's a waiting list for people who want to contribute to the content, and that's really exciting to me. That more than anything, that lets me know we're resonating with moms. Okay.
So let me ask you this. How different is it? So starting your first company back in 2006 when the internet was kind of new.
1996.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. 1996. And now today where you have all types of social media platforms, how different is that for you? It has to be like shockingly different.
Well, yes, but it's so funny because I feel like I've been doing social media since the beginning. It was just called something different. We had message boards, or we had, ways to ping each other, chat rooms, right?
That's right.
And we're socialing on, our various different platforms, Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. but the intention is the same. It's to connect with people with like-minded interests and sort of have that dialogue going. So I'll never forget the reason why we started what we called online diaries, which today is a blog, you know. So I've been blogging since dark ages, you know. We called it an online journal, online diary. And the reason why we started it was out of a personal need. I had started the Pregnancy and the Baby website, and then I got pregnant with my twins. And I have twin girls who are now, oh my goodness, 13. I'm hating myself again. But I ended up having to go to the hospital because I was in preterm labor, and I was there for 6 weeks. And people wanted to know, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are the babies okay? And I thought, you know what? Rather than email these sweet people individually, I'm going to start an online journal. You know, and I literally posted updates on this journal about the babies and about me and how we were doing. Thank you so much, and we're okay. And it was the most wonderful community bonding experience. You know, and this was, like I said, this was 1998 when we started these, you know, blogs. And then because of the popularity of my blog, other people started asking if they could keep an online diary on our site. And so, oh my goodness, all of a sudden we had like 50, 60, 70, 80 people keeping a diary, which is, you know, a blog on our site. And then each of them wanted to be able to communicate with the outside world. And so we gave them a message board that was just devoted to them. So if you wanted to leave, you know, Becky a comment, you could put it on her message board. And it's very similar to Facebook.
I was going to say, you're the female Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh boy, don't I wish.
You wouldn't retire then either.
Well,
I love that.
Well, thank you.
It sounds like you were almost ahead of your time, right? I mean, you were blogging before blogs. You were almost wanting to do like the mobile app before mobile apps were here.
Yeah, you know, and actually I'll tell you that this time around, you know, being a little bit ahead of the curve on the mobile boom, I find that it's a little challenging. You know, back then it was a little challenging trying to explain what are these online journals and all that stuff. People didn't. So you're trying to always, I feel like I'm constantly educating would-be partners. And that's okay, but you have to kind of bring them up to the sort of what you're thinking, and here's why I think this is a great idea to engage with people and build relationships. And you know, so, you know, here we are. A lot of companies realize they need a mobile strategy, but they don't have one yet. And so that's, you know, that's a little bit of a barrier to overcome. And so then we, you know, play up more like, well, we still have a huge online presence. We have a huge social media presence. And a lot of companies are still trying to find their way even to social media. So you can see why it's great to be ahead, but it's almost
scary a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you think, I believe we're on the right track, but people have to sort of come along with, you know?
Exactly. It's funny because I'm lucky enough to be kind of partnered with the people that develop my website for my other business, Me Giant. They also do some web apps. Excuse me. So they've done a web app for Successful Women Talk, and I'm the only one that has the app right now. But I'm going to put that out there. But because I think it's important, instead of downloading all the episodes or the blog post or whatever, there's an app for that.
That's fantastic.
It's just easy, and I love easy.
It is, and I think that at the end of the day, you know, everyone will realize that, and because you have one, you'll be ahead of the curve, and so it will be to your advantage. And so, great move. Totally think that's awesome. And yes, that's what our app. So we have an iPhone app and an Android app. And then of course the website. So it's a lot, but it's exciting, you know?
I love it. I love your story. It's so inspiring. A normal person, a normal mom that took an idea, a need, and turned it into something really big. Not once, but twice.
Well, fingers crossed. We're still working on this one.
I have no doubt. We're going to see big things with 30 Second Mom. Very exciting.
Thank
you. Listen, if someone wanted to hook up with you, where would you want to send them?
Oh, the best place to go is probably our website, which is www.30secondmom.com. It's just the number 30 and then secondmom.com. And then also from that homepage, you can download the apps. You can get the iPhone app or the Android app, which are so easy and they're free. So, you know, it takes 30 seconds.
I love it.
It really does. And that was the intention, just make signing up easy and getting started easy. You can even access the site using your Facebook account or your Twitter account. So we're just trying to make it easy because we're all busy. And
Busy people, busy moms. Elisa, your story is inspiring. I thank you so much for taking the time. I'll link everything up in the show notes. And again, we appreciate all you do. You're so inspiring.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Sheila.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Okay, that's our show, and thanks again for tuning in. Hey, I have a huge favor. I'd like for you to join us over at www.successfulwomentalk.com. Join our email list, and on that list, you'll be a VIP. You'll be receiving all of our newest updates, newest interviews, our newsletter, and any tips and tricks we have for organizing your business and getting raving fans and customers that actually just sing your praises. So again, thanks again for tuning in. Check us out next week for another episode of SuccessfulWomenTalk.com. Thanks, guys.